Feel this in my own spirit. If it had not been for the Lord on my side, tell me where would I? Can y'all stand up for me? I can try to do that. Where would I? If it had not. Today is our Black History program. I felt like it would be appropriate for our college-bound teenagers to speak to us today about Black history. What we just did, y'all, Matt is in church. Let's thank God for Matt. I know he embarrassed. Sister Rocket is back, and so many of you precious people. Y'all, Elder Calvin went back to work this week. Hallelujah. I will shout, but I want to hold up service, but God is a good God. He's a good God. He's a good God. Because if I shout, service is going to be over. Sister Rocky, you ever been through something and God brought you on the other side and you really don't care how people feel about your praise, and you don't care how people feel about what you've been through? You just said, if it had not been for the Lord, it was on my side, I would have been stronger, I would have been consumed, but thanks be unto God. Literally, if I shout, I'm gonna mess up this whole service, because I don't know how he brought me through, but I know he brought me out. No shout now. I don't know how he brought me over, but I'm already over. Tell the people to sing this song. I see them do it, and I know it's working out for me.
Yes, God.
All right, so we're going to have...
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Hallelujah, Jesus.
All right, thank you. All right, so two of our young people come speak to us. We'll shout on our own Sunday, first Sunday. Brianna, we're going to have to do your whole shindig over again. We're going to have to do it over, girl, because we had celebrated, man. We were screaming and everything. I said, you're going to learn today. So we're going to have to do that over after the Jasmine and Alicia come speak. Centel is a historian. You got to know your grade. You got to know what you walk into. So Alicia going to come. Jasmine is going to come. And let's thank God that these are our young people. Our young people went to the movies on Thursday night. We took them to the movies as a church. We paid for everything. Unless the parents just moved us out the way and the way our bank account was set up. We thank God for that too. But We took them to get them some food or pay for the movie or whatever, because I don't want these young people to get to be older and say, my church never did anything but go to church and shout and tell us we was going to hell. Me as a young pastor, I want to reach our young people. I can't wait for the day, and I'm going to say it till I see it, till one of them break out from them chairs and clear out a row. And you talking about somebody go and break out and start crying and shout with them. I learned God at a young age, and I think if we present God right, they will, whether they go to FAMU. Alicia is going to Daytona to Bethune-Cookman College in August. That's one of our own. Jasmine is going to Kennesaw State, and she's still trying to figure out what her major is going to be. So great stuff is happening in our church. Amen. God don't want no happy dummies. You just happy and dumb. God wants people who furthers education. That's going to be our new saying. Everybody say, God don't want no happy dummies. God don't want no happy dummies. They're dumb and happy. But these people are doing it. These young people are being promoted. And Daniel, what you said, it just totally made my day. The Bible said out of the mouth of babes. And just... he said, nobody told him what to say. He said, can I do the welcome? I said, sure. You going to read that thing? I thought he was going to read it. And he came up with his own welcome. And I want to say thank you because I try to be the world's greatest pastor. So the first one, with Black History Month, what we do is call and response. When I say God is a good God and you say, yes, he is, that had this, how you say the word?
It derives from.
It derives. Say it again.
It derives.
Don't try to correct me because you half white. It derivative. How you say it?
It's a derivative of.
Yeah, that right there. That's what I want. That was what I was. Say it one more time.
It's a derivative of.
Okay, now tap back to your black side.
Hey, there are black people that are educated, amen?
Yes. Amen. Yeah, just sometimes. But we do call and response. Call and response is Angela is too much laughing back there. It's a derivative, Tika, of slavery. And so they sung songs, well, master and all this stuff. We couldn't do certain stuff. So some of the songs that we sing are derivative of slavery. And they were birthed out of a movement of trying to touch God when we were oppressed. So they would say, let's go down by the river. Let's go down by... The slave master thought they was going down to the river. They thought it was a song, but it was their message to go down to the river so we could have service. A lot of our South Carolina Geechee, we say shout. Everybody with good sense know you shout with your mouth. But everybody else, we in our black church, we say shout, and that means with our feet. And all of that has a derivative. The black church has always been a staple in our community. It is a derivative of slavery. So a lot of stuff that we do, we're not slaves. It has its origins in slavery, and it has worked, and it continues to work. I love Kirk Franklin, and I love, my hallelujah belong to you, but give them a good old God is a good God, and be done drive that thing home, and prophetess to be shouting till her feet start hurting. And so, those are the things that we like. But Alicia is going to come, and she's going to teach us, followed by Jasmine, and our historian with these, our Wizard of Oz socks are going to come, and he's going to finish us off. Amen. Amen. Come on, Alicia. Come on, let's give her a hand. Come on, girl. In this church with these pants on. Just playing.
Okay,
Videotape, your mama thirsty.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you a little background before I say a poem that I wrote. So, on August 21st, 1831, Nat Turner and his supporters began a revolt against white slave owners with killing of their owners and the Travis family. So, Nat Turner believed in signs and heard divine voices, and he had a vision in 1825 of a bloody conflict between black and white spirits. 3 years later, he had what he believed to be another message from God. In his later confession, Turner explained, the spirits instantly appeared to me and said the serpent was loosened, and Christ laid down the yoke, and he had borne for the sins of men. And that I said, take it on and fight against the serpent. Turner would receive another message to tell him when to fight, but this latest message meant I should arise and prepare myself, the slaves, my enemies, and with their own weapons. Okay. So, let's start with my poem now. It's not a dream. It was a sign from God. Your family wept from the men in the big house. Why should we lay when the numbers are in our favor? I will be your strength. I will be the face. I weep in silence to be strong in the face of my people. I swept away my doubt to be fearless in your eyes. I heard the calling of the Lord which fueled my rampage. To save my people, I did what others could not. And my name lives on. My name holds power while my body cannot. My name struck fear while I was hiding. Maybe it was the devil, maybe it was God, but my message was clear. How could we be anymore? To be despised so much needed to be chained and hanged. All to have my movement move further than my wildest dreams. My children will live in my decision. My people will live in my vision. And my name lives on.
Beautiful. Come on, y'all. You better give her a hand. Give her a hand. That is beautiful. Wow, you did an amazing job. All right, come on, Jasmine. How many of y'all want to? Since they our first college graduates, how many of y'all want to do their graduation party?
Those shoes.
Yep. Come on, shoes. Iridescent.
I like that.
Let America be America again by Langston Hughes.
Yeah.
Let America be America again. Let it be the dream it used to be. Let it be the pioneer of the plane, seeking a home where he himself is free. America was never America to me. Let America be the dream, the dreamer's dream. Let it be that great, strong land of love, where never kings connive nor tyrants scheme. Hold on, y'all, I'm scared. Okay. That any man be crushed by one above. It never was America to me. Oh, let my land be a land where liberty is crowned with no false patriotic breath. But opportunity is real and life is free. Equality is in the air we breathe. There's never been equality for me, and nor freedom in this homeland of the free. So this poem speaks of the American dream that never existed for the lower class Americans, and the freedom and equality that every immigrant hoped for but never achieved. In this poem, Hughes represented not only African Americans, but other economically disadvantaged and minority groups as well. Besides criticizing the unfair life in America, the poem conveys a sense of hope that American dream is soon to come.
Come on, y'all. Do better than that. Young people, give us some yeah. Since you ready?
Come through, Booker T.
Come on. Come on, historian. Give us a little history.
First of all, let's celebrate the young people that just came up here today. Give them a hand. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet, with a steady beat, have not our weary feet come to the place for which our father sighed. That is the second stanza of Lift Every Voice and Sing, the Negro National Anthem.
Yes.
Negro history derived from one person, Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who felt that it had to be, and it got to be a way to celebrate the achievements and accomplishments of black people. So it started as Negro History Week, and today we are the benefactors of being able to celebrate an entire month for some, but for a lot of us, 365 days out of the year. There would be no black history if it were not for Nat Turner that you spoke of, who was the original revolutionist. There would be no Washington, D.C. if it were not for Benjamin Banneker, because Benjamin Banneker was a slave and he saw the layout, the blueprint of Washington, D.C. A storm came, everything was wiped out, but it was a black man who remembered the layout of our nation's capital. There would be no politics if it were not for Barbara Jordan and Shirley Chisholm.
Yes.
The first African-American female, Shirley Chisholm, to run for president of the United States, who stood bold and said she is unbought and unbossed. That she didn't need lobbyists to go take her to dinner. That she knew that she was fighting for a reason and fighting for a cause. And just right here in the state of Georgia, Alonzo Herndon, the first black millionaire who had multiple businesses, a barber. So right when you go down Edgewood Avenue, he owned a barbershop called the Crystal Palace. And Forget about State Farm, forget about Progressive. If it were not for Atlanta Life Insurance that started right here in the state of Georgia. And she was joking when she was saying Booker T. Washington, but Booker T. Washington, I really didn't agree with his philosophy. Booker T. Washington had a philosophy that we should not be so headstrong about our rights, that we should just sit down and just wait for the white people to give us our rights. No, brother. We had amendments that were passed. We had the 13th, the 14th, and 15th Amendment that had already passed. So we needed our rights right then and there. And that's when it took the great theologian, the great philosopher, William Edgar Bernhardt Du Bois, who said, give me my rights right now, for we have earned them. For we have stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod. And that third verse sums it up. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears. The silent tears so that Keisha Lance Bottom can become a female mayor. Atlanta got a mayor named Keisha.
Yay!
And people like your pastor, a Morehouse graduate. People like your pastor who is making strides in the world in the field of education, educating babies. You know, the pipeline to prison starts at about first grade, second grade, and third grade. But there's people like your pastor who is making sure that he's teaching them their ABCs and that he's being that mentor and that father figure, but really aside of that, being a spiritual leader and role model for them. I'm not going to hold you long. I'm not going to bore you, but Black history should be celebrated 365 days a year. You cannot think of writing before it not being a black person. Everybody got shoelaces on? It was a black person. Sandals, black person. Madam C.J. Walker, so, you know, you got your curls and your nice hair. Madam C.J. Walker from, quick weave. I cannot do it with Cassie. All right, and then think about it. You would not even be able to get on an elevator if it were not for a black man. Because the pulley that pulls the elevator, that was invented by a black man. So we have to remember where we come from. We have to remember that 365 days a year, we are greatness. And thank you for this opportunity, Pastor Marshall. And want you just to remember also, please, 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 if you're 18 years of older, please register to vote. Because that's where the change happens. Think about Rosa Parks. We laugh when we see the word nah, 1955. But it's because of her and Dr. King and Ralph David Abernathy and so many others why we're able to vote. So in the whole spirit of Black Panther, I put a post up the other day, coming to you Black Panther 2 at a poll near you on May 22nd. All right? So remember, vote. Remember where you came from. And remember that if it had not been for the Lord on your side, we really don't know where we would be. Thank you.
Come on, y'all. Give me a hand. I like it. Come on, snap, 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 snap. Listen, before we, give me 1 second, Tony. Before we wish Brianna a birthday, the other side of Black history is that we come from people who refused to be slaves. When they were coming over the Middle Passage, some people said that they would rather be dead than to go work in a plantation, and they killed themselves in the sea. We come from people that they gave us scraps and we made meals. There's no racism in me. There's no prejudice in me. I love everybody because you're not going to heaven with hate. But they gave us scraps and we created greens and yams and all of that. All of that is African American meals. And you put many of these women in this church in the kitchen. It's ancestral and it's generational. And so you don't come from quitters. Young people, I want y'all to all look at me. Life is not easy. You get to be 18 years old and then you discover that you just feel kind of thrown out there. But you can look at our lives and our mistakes. People don't like to say that word. You can look at our lives and our mistakes and what we did not accomplish yet and where we didn't go yet, and to see that you do not have give up in you. If the first college tell you no, invite, go ahead and apply to 2 more. This is my truth. The first 3 times I applied to Morehouse College, they declined me. This is my truth. The first 3 times they said that I was not Morehouse material. It was the 4th time that I applied that they gave me a full scholarship. And so every day I was a student at that school, I walked around with a heart of appreciation because I made it into what I wanted. Can I say this with me? Young people, say this with me. Say, nobody in this world owes me anything. You better hear me today. Your mama owes you a place to live, a bed to sleep in, and food to eat until you're 18 years old. And at 18, you gotta go. You gotta go. Now, girls, y'all might stay home, but Sam, the truth of the matter is, Brett and all these, y'all gonna have to get out. And so, Carter, you gonna have to get out. And as a black man, let me say this. So, and I'm not preaching, but let me tell you something. As a black man in America, and as an educated as a black man in America, you never hear me talk about my credentials. I hold a master's degree. I got a bachelor's degree. I graduated from Morehouse. I'm fine, all of that. Wait a minute. Too much laughing. Wait a minute now. But Elder John will attest to this. In corporate America, a black man has to work 2 times harder. Matt will tell you this as his counterpart. Dominique will tell you this. White people, and this is not a level of racism. This is how the payment system is. It is white men, black men, and then women. And so even women, they call it the glass ceiling, even women, African American women, makes 2 times less as African American men. And even African American men always fall under the umbrella of white men. I watched us as a nation, and the Lord kind of wants me on Facebook right now because I need to just gather my thoughts. But I watch everybody has on their African attire. Everybody is so Rwanda and so Black Panther, but we're killing Monique for standing up for her rights.
Yeah, right.
I'm watching people on Facebook like she's a has-been and she need to sit down and shut up, but nobody knows you outside of Macon. But this woman has been all over the world doing what she says. If Amy Scholes can get $12 million for a show and negotiate $2 more million, why should Monique have to work for $500,000? It is unfair and it is wrong. And a lot of times, let me tell you something, young people, never be afraid to stick up for yourself. If somebody is doing something wrong, open your mouth. If somebody is doing something unjustly, open your mouth. And one of the things that we had to take a class on Dr. King, and I'm all the way done. We had to take a class on Dr. King at Morehouse. And Trevor, do you know who gave Dr. King the hardest time? Blacks. Dr. King was going from Birmingham to all these places. And do you know people were sending, the black people were sending him death threats and was like, leave them folk alone and just let God work it out. And Dr. King is on the forefront saying, we deserve, could you imagine if you had to go to Crystal's and walk through the back? Could you imagine? Do y'all know that our forefathers went through that kind of stuff? Could you imagine that you had to use the back entrance to go inside of Walmart and it was simplistically based on the color of your skin? Could you imagine not being able to drink from certain water fountains because you were black? Let me tell you something. When you go to school, and I'm saying this as a teacher, as a spiritual father, as a pastor, your job is not to be a clown. You want to be a clown, join Barnum and Bailey's. Your job is to learn. Your job is not to be the class clown because you have to make something out of yourself. Amen. Quitting is not an option. Let me tell you something. Life is hard for me. Life is hard for me. Just because I'm the pastor and I know Jesus, but I think I do. And just because I think that Matt will tell you, in his job, he catches hell because of who he is. And there's always a period of adjustment that we have to make, Sam, as African American men, because people are intimidated by strength.
That's right.
Am I saying something wrong? People are intimidated by strength. They will love the fact that you are the man that can move the trash can and lift the heavy stuff. But the moment you open your mouth and speak truth to power, you become an enemy. And so through your life, it's not going to be easy. You can have God all you want to. I think I got God down to my blood. And it helps change how I respond. But what we've been talking about in Bible study is sometimes you have to learn what to respond to. And sometimes you have to learn what to keep your mouth closed. You will have to shut your mouth a lot. And you will have to take inequality a lot. But there are the moments in your life where you do not have to. And let me tell you, and I'm going to finish like this. The Bible said, if God be for you, He's more than the world against you. There are opportunities out there. Y'all got the internet at y'all fingers. Y'all got it at y'all cell phones. Y'all stress y'all mamas out. You can't just play the bubblegum game all day. If you want to do stuff in life, there are scholarships out there that you can get for being left-handed.
Come on here.
There are scholarships out there that you can get from coming from marginalized households, color of your eyes. Y'all, there is no excuse that you're not going to do greater. I will be a sorry pastor and a sorry man of God and a sorry father if I say I didn't want y'all to do more than me or to do better than me. One day Dominic is going to grow up and Dominic is going to preach the gospel. My prayer is that he doesn't have to go through what I went through, and that God will make it easy, because he looked at my life and said, okay, this is what Pastor did wrong. This is what I'm going to do better. Everybody say it with me. Say, I can do this. I can do this. I can accomplish this. I can accomplish this. Nobody can hold me back. Nobody can hold me back. But me. The devil is a liar. His mom is too. I will accomplish whatever I set out to do. And let me say this. Don't feel bad because you don't go to college. School, let me tell you about the educational system. The educational system is not meant to educate. It is meant to further enslave. Did I say that? Yes, I did. They'll tell you that if you don't go to college, that you're going to be, that you're not going to do well in life. That's a lie. Because Willie Watkins does not have a college degree. Willie Watkins does not have a college degree, but Willie Watkins is worth more than $2 million. And there's a funeral home all over this city. Gregory B. Lovett, they got to go get them little funeral license and all kind of carrying on. But let me tell you something, that man don't have a college degree. And a lot of people make money and they've never been to college. Am I encouraging you to go to college? Cassie got 2 masters. We just need to call her master. Cassie got 2 masters. I got more degrees than a thermometer. It doesn't mean anything at the end of the day. It means I regurgitated what my professors wanted me to have. Whatever you want to do, the true ownership or true wealth is in entrepreneurship. You're not supposed to work for somebody for the rest of your life. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Now you got to do what you got to do until you get there. But a lot of us lose our identity and everything else trying to work for somebody else. Start your own business. Start your own printing company. Start your own, write the books. Do whatever you need to do to make a difference. Somebody needs you. You're going to make a difference in somebody else's life. Tell your neighbor, say, die another day. Some of us want to die because we feel like life is too hard. Live through the day. Turn the book. Change the chapter. Die another day because somebody's looking at your life. I'm going to do this right quick. If you need prayer, just raise your hand. Strength is already in you. Father, we thank you in the name of Jesus. Play softly for me. Father, we thank